So today let's go with one of the assassins. Let's go with the guide of Edward Kenway, which is the main character of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, a game that I pretty enjoyed back in the time. And in today's video I've seen a lot of different debates, a lot of different mixed opinions. Some people love him, some people don't think he's that good, and today I'm gonna show you what I think my impressions are after testing him on the test server. So the guide on Edward Kenway, let's have a look at it. Hi, Senda here and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. In this case we are on the test server and we have Edward Kenway, and I'm gonna say right off the bat I wasn't super impressed, mainly because it feels the same or very similar role as the Ezio does, and Ezio is gonna be a free champion, or is a free champion that they're giving away with a 5-star blessing, and it's a champion able to take down enemies with stone skin, AoE debuffs, and is quite versatile in terms of dungeons. There is one thing though that I have to give it to Edward, and is that he's able to apply one debuff that is quite unique, that is the ensnare, and also he's able to place block revive through stone skin, and it's also quite unique that Ezio is not able to do. However, I think he has a lot of flaws in his kit, and I don't think he's that mind-blowing as other people are saying. Let's have a look at how I have him. There's actually also two ways of gearing him. Let's come here, Bannerlord. It's a little weird because he was a pirate, so it's not really a Bannerlord, but I guess he didn't really quite fit in any other faction. He's not an elf, he's not a barbarian either. Sacred Order he could be, but I feel that there's a bit too many already. Basim and Ezio are already here, so I feel that, okay, maybe it didn't fit here. It's not an Orc, it's not a Revenant, it's not an Argonite, it's not a Shadow King, so I guess they were like, okay, let's put it in Bannerlords. He's not really a Bannerlord or someone with a lot of honor since he was a pirate, but I guess he's the honor of the pirates. Let's quickly go through his kit. He has the most average stats for attack-based damage dealer, 15k HP, around 1500 attack, around 100 speed is like the most average stats for a damage dealer. And in terms of skills, we have an A1, which is a very similar to from a champion that we already know, an epic called Allure, which is amazing for farming Fire Knight normal, not on hard, which we're going to be attacking an enemy 3 times. It hits 75% chance of decreasing the target turret meter by 15%. If that hit is critical, it's a 25% instead, and this effect cannot be resisted if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil. He is, however, able to place it. He's going to be able to place the Veil, or the Perfect Veil in this case, but we're very likely going to be doing Veil using A3 and then A2, and by the time we need to use A1 he's not going to have the Veil, so it's quite rare that he's going to be able to hit A1s with Veil. On the A2, attacks all enemies 2 times. The first hit steals all the buffs from all the enemies, which is pretty cool, and lowers the turn meter by 20%, which is again irresistible if he's under Veil or Perfect Veil. And the second hit, 75% chance of placing Sleep on all enemies for 1 turn. Sleep is probably the worst control debuff on the game, because you have the freeze, which literally the enemy loses turn, but against you, I mean, it has a pros and cons. As a pro, the enemy loses the turn, versus a con, you're dealing less damage to that enemy. If the enemy has stun, which is the best, the enemy loses the turn and that's it, they take regular damage. Then you have the fear, which is 50-50, the enemy might attack you or not. And then you have the sleep, which is definitely the worst, because basically any sort of damage, a poison, an HP burn, literally everything is gonna wake up the champion, and there you go. That was all the control you had. And well, you also have taunt, or not taunt, like you have the provoke, which is a good control, but you're gonna get hit back regardless. So it's good, but again, the sleep is the worst one of them, because it's very easy for the enemy to just woke up. This debuff will ignore any block debuffs, which is great if this attack is critical, which should be because it's a damage dealer, and it cannot be resisted if under Veil, Perfect Veil. The A3, however, is the key skill, is the core skill. All his kit is about this skill, and basically this is the main skill you're going to be using if you pull Edward. Attacks one enemy before attacking, places Perfect Veil, which is great. Will ignore shield, stone skin. Here's the important part, ignoring stone skin, because arena is full of stone skin champions. And block damage, and places a block revive if the target is killed. There's one con on his kit that he's not able, through any of his skills, to ignore defense. So we're gonna have to compensate that with relics, with masteries, with blessings, with whatever we can do, with sets, with gear. We need to gear him with whatever we can in order to increase his damage, because he's not able to ignore any defense. Then we have the first passive, which is the same one as all the assassins, and the second passive, which will inflict ensnare. Each hit inflicted by this champion has a 50% of placing ensnare for 2 turns. This is really cool. I mean, if we kill the enemy, this ensnare is 100%, so it's not 50, it's 100% chance. And this effect cannot be resisted if this champion is under veil, and this champion inflicts more damage on enemies under ensnare debuffs. And what does ensnare does? It's one of these new debuffs that they were added to the game not too long ago, which basically any turn meter increase effects received by a champion with the snare debuffs will be reduced by 50 or 100. In our case, we placing the good one, we place the big debuff, the big version of ensnare, which means the enemy is not going to be able to increase his turn meter at all. In terms of like the regular turn meter increase, that's going to be there, but champions that are able to increase the turn meter, like arbiters, Lissandras, all these kind of champions that are able to increase turn meter or to boost turn meter, that effect is going to be completely denied. So we can see a pattern. We can see like it's going to be a 3, probably the first skill we're going to use. We're going to put Veil. After the Veil, we're going to do a 2. We're going to remove all the enemies, lower their turn meter if there's any of these alive, and along the way, we're going to be placing a couple of snares. What's the main important thing of this guy? There's 2 ways of gearing him. I'm going to show you both. I think I had him gear one way, but then I changed it because I'm gonna quickly show you the gear. It's not the best, but since it's a champion that we're mainly going to be using for arena, because I'm about to explain you that in a second, why would we use it in arena and not anywhere else. The meta of this kind of champion is that since it's an attack-based damage dealer, he's extremely weak. Doesn't even have 1000 defense, has a very low HP, so we need to protect him somehow, and the way to protect him is at least a 4-piece stone skin. But since it's also a damage dealer, we need to be able to ignore defense. So the only way or the only possible combination to do both things good is either 4 lethal, 4 stone skin, or 4 savage, 4 stone skin, or 4 cruel, like 2 sets of 2 with cruel, and then 4 stone skin. Like the stone skin is gonna give us, the stats are trash, we don't care about any of this, but we care about this 1 chance of getting a turn. This is the important. If we're able to get at least 1 turn, we're going to be able to at least smash an enemy, place block revive, and do all the other shenanigans that he's able to do in his kit. This is one way. Is it the best way? Probably yes, because he's going to be an arena champion. The other way would be, and if we want just pure right damage, is going to be and I had him geared like this, if I see it, is not relentless, merciless, this set is probably the best for him. I think I had him, no, I didn't save it, amazing, maybe this one, it was something like that. So like a 9-piece merciless, as you can see, it boosts the attack, it boosts, it doesn't quite boost as much the crit damage, it's about the same speed. So this is another version. 9-piece merciless is also definitely not a viable version, because everything this set is gonna give him, attack, crit damage, speed, is great if we can protect him somehow. But that's the thing, I don't have any other somehow to protect him, so I have to go with stone skin. Let's quickly go to see a damage test. I always test them on the same place. Here what we can expect, if it's a damage of maybe more than 300k, something like that, the damage is going to be pretty good. If it's more than 500k, it's going to be pretty amazing. If it's less than 300,000, if it's less than that, the damage is considered average, and below that is considered low. So let's start with the A3. This is kind of the best possible scenario. Realistically, I'm not putting here champions that are not going to be in all our setups. For example, I'm not gonna put here a Gorptuk or anything like that, because it's not realistic. But an increased attack is pretty doable, decreased defense weaken is pretty doable. Let's see his A3 damage. And I really like the animation because he does like a very dramatic pause before he pulls the trigger. Let's shoot this one on the right. There's the dramatic, boom. 279,000. I mean, it's not bad. The damage is not insane, it's not crazy, but it's decent. It's decent enough to kill an enemy. Let's see the A2, which is gonna be a AoE hitter, double hitter AoE, and we're gonna be able to steal all the enemy buffs, which is not gonna be the case because we don't need it, because we don't have any buffs. And then there's the second hit, 122 and 152. So the damage from both is around 300,000, so the A2 is not amazing, the A3 is decent, and the A1, I'm pretty sure is not gonna be mind-blowing either. Let's try this one, for example. 1, 2, 3, and we're able to place the snare, which is also interesting. Not that we need it, not that any of these champions is able to apply any increased turn meter or anything like that, but there you have it. I mean, the A3 decent, the A2 pretty mid, and the A1 decent but nothing crazy. I also forgot to show you, here's Edward. I'm showing you with the regular 6 stars. I don't like showing you the 5 or 6 stars because I understand that not everyone is gonna get the 5, 6 stars. Some people will, some people no, but there will be more people that know than yes. So I think it's more helpful for you if you got the souls. You can count like a 20% more amount of damage, something like that. But I don't like showing you with 5, 6 stars because I don't think it's realistic. And what I forgot to show you is in terms of relics, there's a bunch of relics you can use. Cat's Gates is great because it ignores defense and we need something like that. But we can also use things like the Malefic Talon, also pretty doable. Even Tempus Sanguinis also doable because we increase the turn meter reduction. It's not a massive increase, but it's a bit more. Literally any other relic that any damage dealer can use is going to be useful. This one maybe can also be used, or maybe not. Tends to place unresistible stun on a single target for 1 turn whenever they reduce a target's speed. Nah, that one not really, because the enemy probably will be able to survive. Literally anything that is going to allow us, probably if I filter for what I have equipped, that will allow us to deal more damage will work. There's a couple of relics, probably I'll end up faster if I come here, relic index. Literally anything like Wand of Submission. I mean, we can get polymorph when we try to steal buffs or when we place the snares, so the Wand of Submission can be useful. Things like Stormcaller can be useful, Gore Crescent can be useful, Malefic Talon can be useful, even Idrethi Coronet might also be useful. Covetous Passion, Crown of Corruption, I mean, there's a lot. Pyros Maleos also pretty useful. I mean, there's a lot of relics. Literally any other relic that you'll put on a damage dealer, you can place it on him and he's going to do pretty good. And in terms of masteries, these are the pretty standard damage dealer without accuracy. Like I said, he's able to place the Veil on himself. The accuracy is not needed, it's a nice to have. It's not super necessary, but it's a nice to have. Now, and then in terms of blessings, also there's a lot of different options. Nature Wraths is an option. Crushing Rends, probably if you have the 6 stars of Edward, probably Crushing Rend 6 stars is the one to go for. Soul Reap is also quite interesting. Yeah, Heaven Cast, maybe also we're able to increase our damage. There's a couple of different options. Pick your best. They're all going to be pretty decent. But like I said before, why do I think it's a pretty mid champion? It's a pretty average. Because what he does is not super unique. I mean, is he going to be useful in Iron Twin? Yes, it does damage, but so does so many of a champion. He doesn't do anything special this, not like they're challenge either, but he doesn't do anything special there. For Golem, he's not able to place Poisons or HP burn, so discarded. Spider not massively amazing either, maybe viable in Spider hard because you have AoE hits, but they're not very, it's not the mechanic, the core mechanic. Dragon Slayer, he's not able to place poisons, for example, or activate poisons, so SEO is much better here. Fire Knight, the normal, is going to be very good. Fire Knight is normal. Fire Knight hard, very useless. I don't think he brings anything to the game. He's extremely weak to withstand there. Sun Devil's Necropolis and Phantom Shogun, neither. He doesn't do anything completely special. For Faction Wars hard, he's gonna really struggle a lot to keep alive because he's extremely weak. Arena, we're gonna see it in a second. Clan bosses, he's pretty useless in any of them. Demon Lord, Ezio is way better. Xenomorph, way better. In terms of raw damage, Ezio is going to be doing so much more. Hydra, the same. We're not able to decrease turn meter to the boss. We're not able to place ensnare. We're not able to maybe steal buffs. Yeah, that can be done. We cannot sleep the head, so here discarded as well. And for Chimera, he doesn't bring anything special, just damage. And there's gonna be other champions who do more damage than him, and that are much more specific for Chimera. So I wouldn't think he's any good champion for any of these places, not specifically at least. Doom Tower, yeah, but it's not a very challenging content, it's not a very difficult content. Cursed City, yes, he can be useful if we can bring him along in certain stages. The main annoying ones are normally these ones here, like the ones that are blockers that you have to complete yes or yes, like either this one or this one here. But like we said, there is not the kind of champion that is going to excel at, for example, Sun Devil's Necropolis. In any of these random places, yeah, we can use it as long as we can, but it's not going to bring anything super cool, super interesting, super mind-blowing that no one else does in the game. Siege is essentially another PvP, and Green Forest, more of the same as the Cursed City. Same kind of content, it's cool if we bring him along. He's also quite weak. He's not going to do any kind of counter to any of the bosses. They're also unable to, you cannot place snare, here you need to bring like heal reductions, block buffs, this kind of thing. He's not able to bring any of that. So if you pull him, keep in mind that he's purely 80%, 90% a PvP champion. And the question here comes, do you need a PvP champion, or do you need him as a PvP champion? Do you have better options? And in this case, I'm comparing it with Ezio. Let's have a look. Let's quickly show a couple of teams. For example, let's go with Hell Hades. Basically because I've fought him before and I know I can beat this team, and it's also interesting to show you exactly how much damage he does and what kind of enemies can we take down and so on and so forth. Let's jump right in. I'm gonna start. He's also very fast. I don't know if he's on the Sifi or on this Lazarius. He's quite fast. So let's start with increasing our turn meter. We're also quite slow. For example, let's see if I don't remove. I did remove the stone skin. Okay, not very good. Now we control that Sifi. Now, here what's the biggest threat? So probably we either have this guy here, which is a pretty nasty threat because he's gonna turn around and he's gonna flip forms and probably smack me. Or this one can also flip forms and also smack me, like one of the two. Is his damage enough to take down these guys? Probably yes, because this is a HP based damage dealer, this is an attack based damage dealer, so they're not massively strong or sturdy champions. And let's go for this one, for example. Dramatic pause, boom, 101. I mean, is that enough damage to destroy, to kill an enemy and also be able to place block revive? It is enough. I mean, most of the enemies will have less than 101,000 HP. Is it enough damage? Yes. Is it as versatile as Ezio in terms of AoE, ignoring exploding stone skins and damage and so on? It's different. It's different. Let's continue the fight. Let's try the A2 as well. You can see here I placed the ensnare in all the single enemies. Can we lower the turn meter? Amazing. Now we're gonna get a bit more of turn. Let's go. Let's see the A2. Sifi, stop, right? Not actually gonna do much. Let's see the A2, speed 1. Is the damage enough to kill them? Yes. 57 and 40 something. I mean, double hitter of 40,000. The damage is not insane. The damage is not mind-blowing. Is decent, is enough to take down enemies. That's about it. Here's where it comes the spoiler I made in the beginning of the video. He's not a bad champion, but he's not amazing either. I don't think calling him a monster, calling him a beast, insane. I think this is overrated. I don't think this guy is that crazy. He's decent at best. Let's try another bunch of enemies, but that's the thing of the test server, is always the same kind of people with the same kind of teams. This can be interesting because this guy also is able to place stone skin very often, so we might be able to see a bit more of interactivity there. And I'm not sure if I have Ezio geared, but it's also going to be interesting to see them side by side. Where is he? He's here, he's not geared, amazing, and you're going to quickly slap some stuff on him, something like that, because we're going to be able to see that he's able to place with the A3 a veil on all the rest of the assassins. The assassins, I think there's a bit of misconception that they should go all together. like the turtles, I don't think it's the case. I don't think they all should go all together. I don't think they're made to be all together, even though 2 or 3 of them, they work pretty nicely. So let's start with getting rid of probably the biggest threat, which in this case is Marius. We are probably gonna kill him. 112 is more than enough, and I get a polymorph. Why? Because probably either this guy or this guy have polymorphs. Now it comes Ezio, and Ezio, what I wanted to show you is exactly the other opposite way of dealing with Stone Skin if we don't have Ignore Stone Skin, and that is putting bombs. That also works really good, because the bombs, you're gonna see they're about to blow. Well, not even, didn't need them to blow there, but in this case, yeah, they're 2 turns, they're annoying, but there you go. There's another way of dealing with this. It doesn't have the pro, it doesn't have the nice thing that Ezio is not able to place the block revive, which Edward does. But normally depends on the enemy, one is going to be more annoying than the other. We're able to one-shot one enemy that we need to take down, so it's going to be very specific. In terms of block revive and ignore Stone Skin, there's some champions able to do it. In this case, he's probably better than some of them, and I'm looking at Mesomel. Mesomel is a mythical, we would expect something really cool from a mythical champion, but it's not the case. He's able to ignore defense, ignore Stone Skin, strengthen, ally protection and shield, and also place block revive. Technically, this skill should be way more powerful because we're able to ignore more things and also ignore the defense. And she doesn't hit as hard as Edward. The multiplier on this skill is way worse for a mythical. So if we want to combine both things, Edward is better than Mesomel if what we want is this skill, which for Mesomel we probably do. Unfortunate enough to have one of hers. I don't think I've ever used it. I don't know if I'm ever going to use her because she's not great. If what we're looking at is another option, we have, of course, we have Georgette, which is probably the most powerful champion in terms of ignoring Stone Skin. The multiplier on this guy is crazy, and he's also able to ignore literally everything, and if we kill the enemy, we don't place block revive, but we get an extra turn that's going to allow us to deal with all the rest of the enemies. So it has this kind of 2-for-1 on the same kid. And if another one that just came to my mind also, Ieyasu, we're able to ignore Stone Skin here, but not ignore block revive, not apply block revive. We do have block revive on the A2, but the A2 is not able to ignore Stone Skin. There's also another champion able to do something similar. If we're looking for damage, and damage in terms of ignoring stuff or block revive, the hardest hitting champion able to place block revive is Queen Eva on the A2. This skill is insane. This skill hits like a truck. It's really powerful, but it's not able to pierce through Stone Skin, and that's going to be the biggest down letter on her kit, because it ignores 50% straight off the bat and also places block revive. So the most powerful hit to place block revive is this one. But we're not going to be doing the other thing. We're not going to be ignoring the Stone Skin. Another champion also able to do something similar, which is not mind-blowing, is this guy. Attacks an enemy, will ignore 100% of the defense, and this enemy skill with this skill cannot be revived. So also block revive. However, we also don't ignore Stone Skin. But how often do you see Queen Evas, and how often do you see Blood Gorge on Arena? I'm pretty sure that not very often, they're not very used champions, and so I don't think Edward is going to be very used either. He does bring more things to the game, which is true. The buff removal, that's quite interesting. The block revive together with the Stone Skin ignore also is pretty interesting. The snare is quite interesting. Lowering turn meter is interesting, but he's also a cheap magnet. Like stealing buffs and placing debuffs, we're going to attract so much polymorph, which is dangerous. But like I said, I don't think he's that powerful. I think he's a bit overhyped, and being realistic, he's just a nuker, a damage dealer with one interesting skill, and a snare that is very situational. But that's my opinion. Let me know down there in the comments if you think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong, why am I right, why am I wrong. Over here I'll leave a recommended video. Thanks a lot for watching this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.